Do appreciate it. Now, we'll do a little Q&A. And there's a boatload of comments. Speed training. Rob, have you adjusted your crypto holdings the last couple of weeks? No, they're all the same. They've actually added to them. I thought on Friday it was a pretty good dip, and we talked about it. I just thought, well, you know, we're just after a halving. This kind of feels like the same thing is kind of repeating, but there's just different. It's the same repeats, but there's just different actors in the play, and I just feel like we're going in the right direction, especially after having 12 to 18 months. So me personally, there's these DCA orders that just go off without a hitch on Coinbase. I do that. And when people ask about the fees for Coinbase, yeah, they suck. But I do this program, it's called Coinbase One, where they waive the fees up to $10,000. I've been doing that for like a year and a half, I think it is. And it's like 19 bucks a month. Now I think it's like 30 bucks a month. Don't quote me. I don't have anything to do with Coinbase, so you got to kind of check it out yourself. Whew. That's a good question. Ashley says, I got AGIX, Fetch on Tangent, the merging to one company. How does that go? So that merger is supposed to happen, what is it, June 9th? Sometime between June 11th and June 14th to 18th. So once I know, I'll let everybody know. But if you go to their official X accounts, whether that be AGIX, Ocean Protocol, or Fetch AI, it'll tell you we're gearing up for it and we'll release information as soon as possible. So with Tangent, I'm not for sure because that's a cold storage device. Usually what happens when there's like mergers like that, they do things with the centralized exchanges, but it remains to be seen. And trust me, I want to know because I own Fetch AI, so I will be right there with you. When I know, you'll know. Hey, Lucy, thank you. Lucy, ordered my Tangent yesterday. I love it. Matter of fact, I got a big box right here. This is the one thing I take with me when I'm traveling. Right there, the Tangent. All these nice cards in here. Very easy to use. I think the normies can understand it quite simply. There's a way that it's should be, and there's a way that it's going to be. And the way it should be is everybody should be using cold storage devices, in my humble opinion. The way it's going to be is at some point people are going to allow banks to custody it. I know it sounds crazy, but people trust the banks for some reason. I had never understood that. Amp to the moon. Sure. Probably in this bull market, probably do real well. To the mini. Polly says, hey, Rob, when you take profits, where do you put them? So this is a question. I think we answered this a couple of weeks ago too, but it's always an area. So there's a couple of ways to look at taking profits. One, you take profits and you put those into stable coins, and then you leave them on an exchange. I wouldn't do that. Another way is you take profits in stable coins and you move them to your cold storage device. And now you're getting better. The next one is you take profits, you put those in a cash, and you transfer those to your bank. Okay, you can do that. And the next one is you never take profits and you just borrow against your cryptos and digital assets, just like what we talked about, a process called buy, borrow, die, which is essentially what I almost said Gary Gensler, Jeff Bezos has done, which is he will put up collateral, which will be his stock in his company. They will give him hundreds of millions of dollars in a loan, and he'll pay a very small percentage fee. And then as time goes on, they're like, hey, you owe us some money. He'll take it from his account, but then he'll get a bigger loan. And then when that one comes due, he'll take even a bigger loan and a bigger loan and a bigger loan. And he keeps buying. Well, he's bought already. He's borrowing against it, and then he'll die. And then, of course, that'll be in the trust for his kids. There is a death tax here in the United States, but who knows what kind of legal ramifications he has. He's, one of the richest people in the world. And it could go all over, and he could have hid his money multiple places and not paid much of anything to the IRS. That's just how it goes. So there's that part. And the next part is like what I like to do is take a look at land and real estate. Also doing more loans. And one of these days I'll have to do a video on that. But that's a subject that my wife has done for for many, many years and it's been pretty profitable. What's great about that is you have collateral, which would be land, property, and or tangible assets. And if there's late payments and like that, then you have collateral. That's a whole nother section. I don't want to confuse anybody. So answer your question, what I would do personally is cash, some stable coins. And I like cash in the bank because when people need loans, they're not asking for Tether. They're not asking for Bitcoin. That's what they're going for. And then maybe the buy, borrow, die thing. If I can ever find like a reputable company that could do that, you can take a look at these loans against your Bitcoin. I'll let you do it. And I'll sit back and just watch from afar. I already did the first one. It was called Celsius. It was a masterful disaster. So I'll let everybody else do it. They figure it out. This one works. We got to the bear market. Cool, I'll do it. But not until. Hey, dogs. Where dogs thrive. Cats here. Aristotle. Hilarious. I keep a picture of my wife on my phone as the landscape to remind me why I'm actually doing so well. See, it's all how you do it. Third richest EOS holder in the world. Beardy being number 2. Yes, exactly. F1 race started. Rob, what's your take on Rich Dad Poor Dad? Fantastic books. Horrible price predictions. I think he's the one I think he's calling for $500,000 or more. Let me know in the comment section. But Robert Kiyosaki, hey, I got nothing against him. It just, and you know what? I got nothing against price predictions either. It gives us hope, right? At first, I was kind of ticked off at him because there's so many price predictions, but it gives people hope and allows people to stay in here. That's great. As long as they know it's just a prediction and that they need to follow some sound rules, which is you got to be around here for, look at a 4-year time horizon minimum in Bitcoin digital assets. If you can't do that, you can't be here. You have to go away. And if you think that, oh, well, I'll just make it rich in meme coins, trust me. I know a lot of people have made a lot of money in meme coins, and guess what? They're doing a lot of full trips around the sun, and they're starting to lose. And just take a look at the latest Hulk Hogan token. Let me know how that went. All right. New York is bad for crypto. May not available. And use Mets, probably correct. New York's not a very fun state for digital assets, as far as I understand, especially even for centralized exchanges. Ask the Winklevoss ones. I don't know how they got their bit license, but they did. Hello, Tony. Crypto Golfers here. Steve's here. Land allows you to start a homestead. It's a great investment in many ways. I believe so. I like it. I know some people say, well, you got to pay taxes on it and you'll never really own it. That's true. You have a point. But I got to tell you, it feels nice. It feels great when you don't have a payment. You'll always have a payment as far as rent. As far as taxes. But it's great when you go from like thousands of dollars to hundreds of dollars. Feels pretty good. And then, of course, what's great about that is if you need a loan, that's part of your collateral. Also, what's great is you can pass it on, to your kids and grandkids. Ashley, I know it doesn't pay taxes. I still pay taxes here in Puerto Rico. There's the corporate tax is 4%. There's still property taxes. And then, of course, they don't talk about this a lot, but as far as like charity, which is not a tax, but you still have to pay it, and I gladly pay it for 2 fantastic organizations. One is Pro Techos, which builds roofs here to the underserved and underprivileged, relegated to the poor and unfortunate individuals that don't have a roof. So Pro Techos is great. And the Amigos de los Animales animal shelter. Great. We do walks on Sunday. Just couldn't do it this time because I'm kind of tired from the traveling. Oh, Aristotle. Robert, Rich Dad is a Trump fan. Not to get too political. Trump 2024. Good one, Aristotle. Not to get too political, but Trump 24. Or John, just found your channel. Great. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Shalin says, Foundry, the largest Bitcoin mining pool, is located in New York because the owner loves Rochester. Hope it works out for him. I think he might have a more favorable outcome in Texas, but they want to be there. They want to be there. Yeah. Kurt, can you say anything about Cartesia? I don't know what it is. So I'll tell you what I know and I don't know. I have no idea what that is. Do you buy your properties in full? I think I'm taking a refi on my house in the States. These days, if you want to buy properties, unfortunately, it's a funny thing. Like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you could bid on a property and say, I want to buy this much, or I want to, this is our offer. And then of course you negotiate with the owner and go back and forth until you hit a goal. And now it's like, okay, here's our offer. And then, 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, the agent will come back. Yeah, we just got a cash offer for 10% above. So you lost out. It's happened like 5 or 6 times. So when people talk about, housing and real estate, it's a real deal. And there's a lot of individuals, that could be Blackstone, that could be Chinese nationalists, whatever. They're buying up property to a great extent. I was just in Austin for Consensus. Go talk to those people. Everybody that I talked to over there said it is unsustainable and there's no way you can actually get a house these days unless it's like some rundown, super bad place. You can get something like that, but everybody's cash buyers here because we don't know where it's coming from. I've heard the same thing. Yes, Lord Tuttle. How many cold wallets do you have? And what percentage of total crypto do you keep in each? So I keep very little on exchanges. Maybe, depending on how much I buy for the week, because remember, there's always DCA, and I don't every single day use a cold storage wallet and transfer it. I just don't. And should I? Yeah, probably. But I'm not a big fan of paying like these outrageous Ethereum fees. And even Bitcoin fees over the last couple of days have been pretty crazy. So what I'll do is about once a week or so, I'll take everything off and I'll put them in my Tangem. I have a good amount in my ledger, but now that I have Tangem and I have the backups and I trust it, I've been putting most of everything into Tangem. So right now it's about a 40-60 split, and Tangem is making up that difference as I buy new crypto. So that's me. You can leave it on exchanges if you want to. I'm not here to, like I said, there's a way that it should be and there's a way it's going to be. Make an analysis of Doug the Duck. It'll probably go up in price and then it'll probably go way down and it'll be a rug pull. And then all of a sudden someone will say, it's not a rug pull. And then it'll go up again and then it'll go down again. And if Doug the Duck is a meme coin, that's usually how things kind of play out. Not to say that it doesn't come back. Look at Shiba Inu. Still in the top 30, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Hydropower. That was for the Bitcoin mining operation we were talking about in Rochester. Yeah. Robert Kiyosaki. One thing I do like, I know he talks about gold and Bitcoin. I got to agree on that one. I know it's not a very popular opinion, but I hold a good amount of gold and silver in my Roth IRA account with iTRUST. I see, it's been gold bugs are right. It's been around for a long time. I don't see it going anywhere. Can we take some of the market share out of that $11.5 trillion market? I don't see why not, but I don't see it ever going away, ever. I still think it has a use case. I know some people say, Bitcoin only. Okay. And yes, I know it's superior. It's not confiscatable. It's very portable. It's quite divisible. I get all that. But, that's just the logical way. No sense. I don't even want to learn about it. Rob, okay. So first of all, I wanted to say that I'm very pleasantly surprised that the Wi-Fi actually held up and I didn't use electricity. That's amazing. Here in Puerto Rico, electricity is something. Thanks, Luma. But things are going pretty good for this stream. I'm amazed. Okay, and there we go. Crunk. It's a good name. Rob, what's your favorite exchanges to sell your coins? I'm an American, so my options are severely limited, but Coinbase is the one I've only used. I've used Gemini, I've used Kraken, and I use Uphold. But to buy certain things, I use a lot of DEXs. And then also, I like the swap function within Tangent. But as far as selling like crypto, it's always on Coinbase. And one thing before we get to the bull run, I want to remind everybody, like we talked about in the very beginning, is don't leave things on exchanges. Don't just use two-factor authentication of just text and email. You're just asking to get hacked. And another thing is, and people don't talk about this, Guy actually reminded me about this from Coin Bureau on our NFA live show. He said, one of the things you have to do before the bull run hits, and it was so spot on. He said, you have to contact your centralized exchanges, whatever you actually use, if you think you're going to sell, and say, hey, what's my limit? I need to know my limit right now. They'll tell you what your limit is. And you say, I need you to maximize my limit of how much I can sell for this particular exchange. And the reason why, and the guy was totally right, is that if you do it at the time of the massive bull run, they have so many tickets of the same people asking for the same thing, they cannot get to you. And we know how bull runs, they don't last forever, especially parabolic bull runs. I know people will say, well, this one lasts for, trust me. Do this before, like around right now when things are kind of low and slow. Just do it now. So when the time comes and you're like, oh, I need to sell $1 million worth of this because I need a new kidney or whatever you need. At that point, you can sell it, it goes through, and you can hopefully shift it over to your bank. And my last point is, I think even Guy even said this, talk to your bank too, because you got to tell them, like, look, everything I've ever had to do with money is because I have a relationship with my bank. I know people like hate bankers and everything else. It's not their fault. They're just stuck in a crappy system. Contact your bank, talk to the people over there and say, hey, just to let you know, I made some pretty big investments. I think it's going to pay off pretty well. And we're going to see a big uptick in cash flow. Just to let you know. And it could be X to X. And then they're like, okay, all right, Mr. Craig Wright, we get it. And that's it. Just do that stuff now. There's a long answer for a short question. Let's see. What about Cardano recent news? I just saw that Charles Hoskinson put out a nice video, and he talked about President Milei working with the Argentinian government. I don't know exactly what's happening over there, but it looks promising. Also, I need to catch up with Mickey from World Mobile Token. Looks like they got a big announcement coming up pretty soon. Don't know what it is, but he keeps telling me, oh, it's going to be fantastic. I'm like, great. Sounds good. That was a horrible Mickey Watkins impersonation, but you know what I mean. If the coin is strong, it doesn't need YouTube shilling. True, but it never hurts. You know what? Can we all agree that Bitcoin is a pretty great decentralized asset, right? It's the best so far. And it's number one. It hasn't been flipped. There was a great video put out by River. And River is a Bitcoin exchange. I think it's a Bitcoin exchange only. And it talked about why Bitcoin is so important. And it gave people information of what inflation is. And it's a silent tax and how Bitcoin goes against that. And it was only like 58 seconds long, and it was perfect. So I know, Hunter, like you say, like we don't need any kind of shilling. I think education is definitely needed, because even though something is great, you still have to get that message out, right? It's like the restaurant down the street. It could be fantastic. I mean, it's a Michelin 3-star chef, and everybody's like, oh, this is the greatest thing. But then no one really knows about it, and because it has horrible marketing and it goes under. It wouldn't be the first time. Maybe with a 3-star Michelin chef, it might do pretty well. Who knows? Hey, Rob, what do you think about Gala? Talk to Jesus Martinez. Used to go by Classy Games. Now it's just Jesus Martinez. He knows way more about what's going on with Gala. I am not going to invest in that at all, because once you have the two co-founders fighting and suing each other, that's not good. And then there was a couple of either the communities or people that actually were building on Gala. They got so ticked off, they stopped, and they put out this large post about why they stopped with Gala and what was going on. I got to tell you, I could see the first one. I get it, right? But there's been multiple things about Gala. I'm just not going to touch it. Does that mean that you shouldn't touch it? No, which means you should probably think to yourself, Rob's a moron anyhow. I'm going to go do my own research, which is the right way for everything I say. Let's see. Exactly. I'm happy right where I'm at. I'm good. Thank you. What do you think of reverse mortgages? I think it's just it's a recipe for disaster. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of reverse mortgages. Yes, I understand you can take those funds out, but you know, once that time comes, the bank's they're right there on you. I personally think it's just better just to, I mean, if you have assets, just hold on to those assets. You know, there's a reason why, like Sam Walton, who created Walmart, there's a reason why they own those Walmarts and they own the location. It's also the same thing with McDonald's, why it wasn't so much about, you know, franchising. It was about owning the land that you actually built McDonald's on. So when we talk about real estate, I know some people say like, you know, you don't have to own real estate and just, you know, just keep renting. And you can do that. I just like to own that land and that piece. And I think there's a reason why if owning land and real estate was a bad idea, I don't think Blackstone would be out there purchasing billions of dollars worth of real estate and everything else. I think it's actually a pretty good idea. I have multiple, but only two different tandems. And I know people will say, well, tangent, don't you not like that because, you know, you can't use the mnemonic phrase. And there's also the issue with, you know, if you only have three wallets, now you can do both. So with Tangent Wallet, again, links in the description, I go through the whole piece. You can do both things. You can just have the backups of 3 cards, which makes a lot of sense to me. I have those scattered about. And then also you can use the mnemonic phrases, which you're used to anyhow. So I have 2. B. Lashley says, which other form of security other than 2FA and text on Coinbase? It's called the Google Authenticator. If you watch that video where I screwed up all the things, it'll talk about the Google Authenticator and why you should use it. Also, and people don't like this response, but I still like it, a Face ID. I like using the Face ID, but I will warn you that there was again, details. There was, I think it was OKX as well. Somebody who got the personal information of a user, they used a deep fake to copy the face. And when centralized exchanges, you can't prove your identity, they'll ask you a specific question like, we want you to show us a video of yourself saying this exact phrase before we can give you back access, which are all the good ones. And what they did was they used a deep fake and they said, yeah, we'll say whatever you want. Deep fake said it, got into their account, they lost $2 million. So for me, I think the Face ID is great just as like a preliminary, make things easy. But you should also always have a Google Authenticator. And some people also say like a YubiKey, which I'm not a big fan of, but some people love it to death. Which is another thing to think about. James over Invest Answers, he got his account hacked on Twitter, which is X, and he had a YubiKey on it. So I don't know. And then somebody else got hacked and they had a YubiKey. But everybody talks about YubiKey is great. Maybe it was user error. I'm not for sure, but I'm just like, I don't really trust that. Behind every cynic is a failed optimist. That's just how it goes. Yeah. Gala robbed their investors. Do not invest. Be something to take a look at. I don't know. Hey Rob, the Jupe aggregator, Jupiter, which is a decentralized exchange for Solana, Solana, versus Phantom Wallet regarding trading digital assets. I just use Phantom. And I do a swap, very simple. And I got a couple of meme coins in there. Hey, I'm human. I like to gamble as well. I like it. Works out pretty well. And then I also use the Phantom wallet to go to bonkrewards.com and stake bonk. And I've been doing that for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But yeah, I was buying bonk last year. I figured I should make it go to work for me. And then watch. It'll probably get, something will happen to that place and I'll lose everything. Who knows? Doris says, Robert, I saw a video from James and he says that the ETFs are manipulating the price. Do you have an opinion? I saw that thumbnail and that looked intriguing, but then I was in Houston, and then of course I got called for the plane, so I couldn't watch it. But I just know the thumbnail and I know the title, so I don't know if that's exactly what he said in it. Has anybody watched that video? Sure, James has great information. And if he's got an inkling of an idea that that's what's happening behind the scenes, might behoove you to take a deeper look into that. But let's just say they are. let's say that BlackRock is manipulating the ETFs, because it is kind of funny. We've had such a massive amount of inflow, right? Yet the price is pretty much staying the same. What's going on? And then, people will say, well, there's retail out there and they're going to sell. And of course, Grayscale, they're going to sell, but who knows if they're getting back in another ETF. I just look at it and just think it is a little bit odd how we have, it's the best performing ETF and we're pretty stagnant right now. I know some people say, well, Rob, it's gone up like 3x since January. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, it has. And there's a point where you're thinking to yourself, that's great, and I'm happy with it. Don't get me wrong. But if we're having these same inflows and we keep going up, and look, I'll show you on Hey Apollo, we're at an all-time high for the inflows. As of June 7th, 266,000. Is it really that offset with all those people selling? Apparently so. So if there's manipulation, I wouldn't be surprised. There's manipulation going around the track. That's just how it goes. And that's why I dollar cost average, because I don't try to get too technical about it and just go, okay, once it hits these parameters, I will be selling. That's it. I met Aristotle, great guy. You need to hang up a poster behind you. If we can get Taylor Swift to support this channel for free, it would be priceless. I would like Iggy Azalea to promote this channel because she has a great meme coin called Mother that's doing pretty well, but who knows how well it'll do. I think people do this because they need money to enjoy life. Yeah, they do. I mean, if you want to do it like that, I just kind of feel like there's other places I could go. But again, everybody's got something. They're like, I've never been to Spain. I want to go to Spain. I want to take a mortgage out. Or, hey, I've got cancer. I need to pay for this. Sure. You bet. Ian Bell says, no, stay away from biometrics. I remember somebody said, they go, why would you allow the government to have your face on your phone? Because, they're going to take your face and your face ID and they're going to use that against you. And I'm like, have you ever heard of driver's license and passports? It's nothing but this enormous head right in there. So they got you anyhow. Let's see. Yeah. McDonald's is a real estate company. It was all about owning land. If you ever watched that movie, The Founder, Jack Kroc, or Ray Kroc, and how he bamboozled the McDonald brothers and how they made everything work, it was mostly about land acquisitions. Jack wants me to know that fundamentals come first. Yeah. Yeah. James Zoo. James from the Best Answers. You guys know. Look, I can bring up James and then some people are like, I love that guy. And then some people will inevitably say, I hate that guy. And then I can bring up Ben. Some people will say, I love that guy. And some will say, I hate that guy. And then I can bring up even my own name. People are like, I like Rob. And some people are like, I hate Rob. He's a moron. That's just how it goes. I personally like all of them. Good guys. Besides, remember, like all the people that you meet and interact with, you don't even know what their battles are. So everybody's going through something, man. Yeah. Tiffany said, James said hedge funds may be manipulating the price. They are shorting. Well, that would make a lot of sense for this massive record shorts. Hey, so here's a question for everybody. Let's say they short it, right? Let's say Bitcoin goes down to, what are we at, 69K? Let's say it goes below 40K. Would you buy at 40K or would you wait for it to go to 30? And if it goes to 30, would you wait for 20? And if it goes to 20, would you wait for that 0.0 level at 15K? I'm just curious how people would play it. Because everybody's got a way to do things. Yeah, it's a good one. Me personally, I hope they short the hell out of it and it drops to the floor. Rob is not a moron. Thank you, Pi. Check is in the mail. Eric said, he said that Solana is more decentralized than ETH. I mean, come on. I don't know. Everybody's got an opinion on that one. Those validators. I contacted those guys at one point to become a validator. Do you know how much it takes to become a validator for Solana? You have to have massive money. That's all I'll tell you. Nick, that's a good one. That's absurd. It could happen, right? Look, it was the same thing when we had that Black Swan event, the cerveza sickness, right? I always steal that from George Gammon. But no one thought that would happen. No one thought that this was March 2020. I know that Bitcoin went below 4K. Correct me in the comments section. I want to say it was 3,800 something. No one thought it would go that low. Nobody. So when it went down that low, it was a crazy thing because I was there. Yeah, I even fell victim to this because I bought it at 5K, but then when it went to 4K, I'm like, something's going on. Then when I hit 38K, I'm like, I think it'll go lower. What I should have done was bought at 5K, 4K, 38K, and if it went to 2K or 1K, buy a bunch. But I didn't do it. But it could happen again. I mean, look, if there's that, who knows if World War III breaks out? Who knows what's going on with the BRICS countries? Who knows what's going to go on with OPEC? And who knows what's going to go on with this presidential election? So, and of course the shorts that are going on, it'd be massive. You never know. You have to be around for that. You have to always think like that could happen. Oh no. Raz says, I sold my second kidney to buy Hulk and Jenner. Good news. I worked in dialysis for a couple of years. You only need 15% of one kidney to keep off of dialysis. So you should, hopefully you're okay. Tesla says, when rate cut? Not in June. You know, they were predicting last year 6 or 7 rate cuts. And now we're maybe 2. OX says DCA is dumb. Yeah, it could be. I think some people did a lot better just lump summing. But the question is, when did you lump sum? Did you lump sum in November 2021 or April 2021? Or did you lump sum in March 2024? Or anytime before that? Some people just didn't. Yeah, I just cherry picked a bunch of timers. Oh, really? Daddy O. What a great handle name. James' argument is that funds are shorting as a hedge against their huge ETF holding, hence setting an effective limit on how high the underlying can go, not exactly manipulation. No, but it's a solid strategy, I think. Nothing wrong with that. Bit1 says, do you think AVAX is a good bet? Yes, I do. Especially in the gaming sector. And I've talked to those guys I had head of gaming on. And I think this was like 3 months ago or something like that. I think it does just fine. And look, always pay attention to those projects that made it all the way, that went all the way up in the bull market, didn't collapse during the bear, and are still in the top 50 or so. I mean, AVAX, what are they? Number 18 or somewhere in there? 22? I can't remember. They're still doing great. And they still want to build and do things. And they're only growing. Marty, is that a joke? It wasn't a joke last year, I'll tell you that. It's a joke today, though. Yeah. I'm going to leave it with this. We're going over an hour. Rusty Bot nails it. If I just would have figured this out sooner, thank God Bot's here. You have to lump sum at the lows and not lump sum the highs. Solid advice, Bot. Always on point. I appreciate you. Everybody, that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Again, as a reminder, also check out Ben's site into the Cryptoverse. My site, of course, Dan teaches crypto 100% free. And there's a whole host of plethora of different information you can find in the description of this video. But that's it. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you. Time to hit the beach. Glad to be back in Puerto Rico. I'll see you on the next one. Adios.